It's no coincidence that you're here. Perhaps you've long felt that there is more. In this video, we dive deep into the hidden layers of the afterlife. What shamans, near-death experiencers, Jesus, and modern science really say about the soul's journey, and why your consciousness is the key. We'll explain the 7 levels in a way that you don't just understand, but truly feel. Maybe there was a calling, quiet but clear, that brought you to this very moment. We don't believe in separation. We believe in connection. If you feel that, stay. Subscribe to this channel, because we walk this path together. Welcome to Zeitgeist. What if death isn't a cut, but a crossing, not a fall, but a gentle return to something you've always known? Near-death reports from around the world paint a surprisingly clear picture. In the first seconds after the last breath, something happens that feels more like waking up, not ending. Many say, "I saw myself from above, but I was calm, peaceful. I was more me than ever before." The documentary Expedition into the Afterlife, ARD 2019, shows people who experienced consciousness after cardiac arrest, despite no measurable brain activity. Book Pim van Lommel, in his book Consciousness Beyond Life, shares cases of patients who were consciously aware during clinical death with details they couldn't have possibly known. The Tibetan Book of the Dead describes this threshold as Bardo Thodol, a realm between worlds where the self sees its own reflection. In early Christianity, they said, the soul is received, not as belief, but as experience. Many describe a light, not a blinding one, but a sentient, living consciousness. Others hear voices or simply feel they're still present. No pain, no judgment, just silence. And the knowing, I am, but I am no longer in the body. This first threshold is critical, because it decides what you carry with you: resentment or peace, fear or trust. In shamanic teachings, this is the first of 7 thresholds, the separation. Here it's decided whether you cling or let go, whether you grasp or fly. And that's exactly why your life right now matters. How you think, feel, and live now becomes your frequency, your path, your echo. Because when you leave the body, something remains, not your name, not your belongings, but what you've become within. And maybe that was the plan all along. What if, after death, you don't go anywhere, but simply return to the place you built within yourself? Not through words, but through vibration. The great traditions have different names for it, but they all describe the same phenomenon: that the soul is not judged after death, but pulls itself into a world that matches its frequency. The Radiant World by Andrei Malyarov vividly describes these levels, based on real past life regressions. The film No Solar, Our Home, shows what happens when a lost soul is brought into a luminous realm through the power of remorse and inner transformation. Michael Newton's Journey of Souls reveals through hundreds of documented cases that there are various realms after death, each reflecting the consciousness of the soul. The Monroe Institute reports astral journeys where these levels appear just as described, as hallways, rooms, and spheres of energy. Even the Bible speaks of the many mansions in the Father's house, John 14:2, realms of the soul after transition. What they all agree on: the lower levels are cold, dull, and still. People see fog, hear echoes, not punishment, but also not awakening. These are souls who believed nothing awaits. They experience exactly that, a gray world waiting for them to remember. Many report, "I didn't know I had died." In the middle levels, it becomes lighter. There are gardens, homes, communities. There we meet soulmates, mentors, loved ones who passed. It's the world between lives, as also described in Dolores Cannon's QHHT sessions. Here we rest, learn, choose our next incarnation. And beyond that, light, consciousness, love. A state described by near-death experiencers like Anita Morjani, Dr. Mary C. Neal and Eben Alexander, as pure being, a place beyond all places. But no one is pulled up. You must vibrate like the light, to be in the light. So ask yourself, what if after death you don't find something new, but only what you've become inside, not as punishment, not as reward, but as resonance, because you don't go somewhere. You go where you are. What if your soul's journey after death isn't chaos, but a map, a structure, a pattern, a plan, described for millennia and now confirmed by hundreds of returnees? Across nearly all cultures, from Tibet to Egypt, there are teachings that divide the afterlife into clear stages. In the Bardo Thodol, Tibetan Book of the Dead, it says, "The mind traverses 6 intermediate states, but the first is the most dangerous, for it is here that it must recognize its true nature." Even more fascinating, in the Amduat, the ancient Egyptian underworld map, the soul travels through exactly 12 phases, facing its shadows, memories, and trials. This structure astonishingly mirrors modern near-death experience scales, like the Grayson NDE scale, 2004, used in hospitals worldwide to measure NDEs. According to this scale, most people report similar phases, regardless of religion, age, or culture. Leaving the body, a feeling of peace; life review, a being of light or boundary, and often the decision to return. And then there's this number, 131 seconds. It keeps appearing in Tibetan chronicles, modern EEG studies, even past life regression reports. What happens in these 2 minutes and 11 seconds? It seems that during this window, consciousness undergoes a kind of final navigation, not just memories, but choices, not just images, but frequencies, as if the soul listens to its own echo and recalibrates. Why does that matter? Because it means what you think, feel, and believe now shapes that very transition. If you carry fear, fear will greet you. If you carry guilt, it will appear. But if you've learned to let go, then light will be your first breath. This is no threat. It's a gift, because it shows you are not a victim of the transition. You are its creator. Maybe that's the true meaning of life, to remember before we forget, to journey within before we journey beyond. And that's exactly why we share this knowledge, not out of fear, but out of love. If this moved you, share this video with someone who needs to feel it. Spirit to spirit, your zeitgeist.